J.L. Graham here with KenCo News. Today, in these times, we see a constant public outpouring of bad things regarding our local law enforcement. And this is on a nationwide level. This is not just in the Muhlenberg County or even Kentucky area. This is nationally. Our local law enforcement officers are all too often considered evil. They're considered the enemies and the bad guys. I've even heard that they were bullies. And one thing that really gets me, I've heard too often people say that law enforcement officers have no emotions. Let me tell you how I truly got to know our law enforcement, and then you'll see what I'm going for here. Many years ago, as I first got into the news industry, I had gotten a call regarding an accident. I sped out to the scene. I got there on the scene, and just at the same time that a law enforcement officer did. There was a vehicle there that had rolled over several times, and as we arrived on the scene, there was a lady standing outside of a car crying. The car was smashed up really bad, and the law enforcement officer at the time jumped out of his car, ran straight over there, looked into the window of the car, busted the window with his fist, cutting his fist several places, and he crawled through the windows and he brought out a little boy that was 4 years old. This little boy, this child, was bleeding through his nose and out his mouth. It was covered in blood. The injuries were extreme. Well, the officer laid him gently down on the ground and bent over him and said, "It'll be all right, buddy. Just hang in there. Just be strong." And he sat there and talked to the little boy. And the little boy was trying to cry, but he couldn't because the damage was so great to his body. Well, as the officer sat there over him, the little boy looked up at him finally, stopped crying, and I could even hear it. I was close by. It was a moment that I'll never forget. He looked up at the officer and he said, "Thank you." And then the little boy died. The officer attempted to give him CPR. It didn't do no good. The injuries were too extreme. He did not survive. Well, as the ambulance arrived on the scene and other first responders, the officer stood up and backed away and stood there like a soldier, no expression on his face at all. Everybody finally left the scene, and it was just him and me out there, and I was across the road from him. And he turned around and leaned against the rail on the side of the road. Well, I was very concerned, so I walked over there and tapped him on the shoulder. I said, "Are you all right?" And he turned around. I'll never forget this. Tears were rolling down his face. He said, "No." He said, "I'm not all right. I'll never be all right." He was crying. His heart was broken. It was just, I could not even put into words that moment, what I felt, and there are no words for what he felt. That officer was torn apart from what he had to do and see. And the next day, he was back out again doing his job, regardless of the fact that he was hurting. He could have quit and found another job, but he chose not to. To me, that officer will always be a hero. All too often, we think our local officers have no emotions because they see these things on a daily basis. That's not true. Not at all. These officers have to take these things home with them every night. They have to suffer through this every night, haunted by these memories of the horrible things they see and deal with. But they do it. They have people insulting them, people wanting them dead, yet they still serve those people. What more of a hero could there be? The following is a list of, the following is comments by local citizens for our local police officers, law enforcement, sheriff's deputies. I know these days and these times, the way things are going, you don't often think that anybody cares about you. But to each of you, KenCo News, myself, and these citizens, and thousands more look at you and realize you are our heroes. You are gifts from God for us. We appreciate you, and we stand beside you proudly.
I'm Nathan Brothers at First Kentucky Bank in Greenville, and I really appreciate all the law enforcement of our county. They work hard. They don't get enough credit that they deserve. They put their lives online all the time, every day, and we just appreciate them so much, and just pray for their safety every day and for the work that they do for our county.
My name is Suzanne Vaith, and I support our local law enforcement. I believe that they're out there trying to do the best they can with what tools they have.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Lewis, and I'm very proud to support our local police department.
Hi, my name's Corey Raleigh. I work for KenCo News, and I'm proud to support our troops. Every day it gets harder, but just stick to it and stay tough, and you'll get through it.
Name's James Moore, Deputy Fire Chief, Cincinnati Fire Department. I stand behind you 100%. Our local police officers, law enforcement, sheriffs, states, all of them. They need our support.
My name is Jerry Croxton, and I work here at Sunshine Garden Center here in Powderly, Kentucky. And I do support the local law enforcement. I think they've got a fine line to walk, and I think they do an excellent job at what they do. So that means we've got to support these officers in order for them to do their job and do it correctly, sir. And that's just the way I feel about it.
My name's Logan Graham, and I support our local law enforcement.